Hi, good afternoon. Let me start the webinar on pensions resulting from the pensions 3-day event that is organized in in the Netherlands in order to give people information about their pensions and meant for people to ask themselves questions on their pensions. We're very happy to have you this afternoon and glad that you can make some time for us. Because we would like you to say something on the Heineken Pension Fund, on your pensions, the pensions that you accrue, what possibilities you have with the pensions in the Heineken Pension Fund, and maybe you have some questions yourself as well during this webinar. If so, if you have any questions or remarks, you can make use of the Q&A section in Teams. You can place your question there, and we'll come back to that during the webinar or for specific questions at the end of the webinar, and maybe in a short periods shortly after the webinar. We have there might be some delay on the in the connection, but the presentation will go on as well. Will the session be recorded? Yes, the session will be recorded and will be made available via our website. We will come to that in a few weeks in the upcoming newsletter. You will find the links to the recordings. So what are we going to do today in this webinar? A short introduction on the Heineken Pension Fund. We'll give you a view on the Heineken pension schemes that the Heineken Pension Fund executes, the choices you can make within the basic pension scheme, where you can find any personal information and how to contact us. Some concluding special topics, and I will say a few words on the future of pensions. Like you know, like you might know, in there's a discussion in the Netherlands regarding the new pension system. Moreover, it was a topic in the parliament yesterday. The discussion on the new pension scheme. It will have some consequences on the organization of our pensions. I will say a few words about that. But first, let me start with the Heineken Pensioenfonds. The Heineken Pension Fund is a company pension fund, executing the pensions for Heineken in the Netherlands. Companies, those are the Heineken Group, amongst others, but also Vrumona and Heineken Supply, Heineken Commerce. All those members, all those employees from those companies accrue their pensions at Heineken Pension Fund. It is presided by a board, the pension fund board, who makes the policies and decides on pension increases and contribution percentages. The pension execution is performed by by organization based in Zoeterwoude, where Patrick Verwij, my co-presenter, I forget to introduce him to you. Sorry for that. And some other people in the pension execution organization, the so-called trustee support unit, who perform work on the supervising of the assets who make the policies, which the board decides on, well, it's so we do the pension administration ourselves as well in our team. The organization is completed by a financial control and communication department, and the Heineken Pension Fund is there for all active employees of Heineken in the Netherlands, but so-called third country nationals may opt out for the pension fund and opt in for the international retirement savings program, and that's a separate scheme that is not executed by the Heineken Pension Fund, but is executed by an insurance company, and you basically get a contribution, get a sum of money each month, from which you can decide to take a provision for yourself for pensions. Another exception is the executive board. Their pensions are based with another insurance company. So the Heineken Pension Fund has some figures. The assets as per 30th of September amount to 4.2 billion euros. Provisions, the total of all the pensions that you and we have accrued, and former members have accrued, and the pensioners' retirees are receiving at this moment, amount to 2.8 billion, resulting in a coverage ratio of approximately 150%. And they also printed the policy coverage ratio. That's a 12-month average coverage ratio from the pension fund, which is currently 131%. And with such good figures, favorable figures, the chances are big that the pensions may be increased as per the 1st of January 2023. Well, some numbers of the participants I included in the on the slide, resulting amounting to 16,500 people who are getting pensions, are getting pension payments from us, or have pensions in the pension fund for future payments. And how is this paid for? How are the costs covered? Well, on the one hand, we pay our contribution, or Heineken as an employer pays the contribution, of which we pay 1/3 ourselves. That is for the yearly pension accrual, and on the other hand, we have the execution costs. Those are fully covered by Heineken, the employer. So far for the general information on Heineken Pension Fund. Let's take a look at the basic pension scheme that is executed by Heineken Pension Fund. It consists of retirement pension, partners pension, and orphans pension. And the retirement pension is calculated, is accrued as a number of small yearly pensions, and that is to say that each year that you work for Heineken, you will accrue a part of your pension for that specific year. And the pension base, that is the base where you accrue your pensions on, is calculated as a pensionable salary with a maximum of 140,866 euros minus an offset. And the offset is deducted from the pensionable salary because if you work in the Netherlands, you will be you're eligible for a state pension. That is the AOW, the state pension, the Dutch state pension. So that is an amount for which you do not have to accrue pensions on, because that's something that you will get at the end of your career anyway. The annual accrual is 1.875% of the pension base, and all the pensions that you accrue are aimed at a pension age of 68 years. That is other than in the collective labor agreement. There it says that you go out of service on the state pension age. That is 67 years. So you will have to decide if you want to take early retirement at that moment. We'll come to that a little bit later in this webinar. And I can imagine that is somewhat difficult to understand. One of the reasons to have 68 years as a pension as an aimed pension age in the pension scheme is that the yearly accrual is as high as possible, following fiscal law. If we were to have a pension age of 67, the accrual percentage of 1.875% has to be lower as well. So that is one of the reasons I believe for having a pension age of 68. That is how the basic scheme now is organized. Okay, apart from the partner's pension, the retirement pension, you have a partner's pension insured. It's also an annual accrual of 1.3125% annually. And if you decease, the partner's pension will amount to approximately 70% of the retirement pension. If you decease in active service, we include the coming years of service as if you were to retire on the moment that you decease. So that results in a partner's pension of 70% of the retirement pension that you can reach, that you can accrue when staying into service until the retirement age. It is important to remark that the partner's pension is standard if you for married people or those who have registered partners. We have a connection with the basic administration of the community, of the towns, of the town halls. And we can see if people are married or have registered partners, and the partner is then registered automatically in our administration, and hence you will get your partner will get the partner's pension if you decease. But it's also meant for those who have cohabitation contracts, and in that case, I'll come to that later on. In that case, if you cohabitate, it is important to let us know using a copy of the cohabitation contract, so we can register your partner in the administration. And something that is important to remark, when you get divorced, Dutch law says that the partner's pension will stay with the ex-partner, and the retirement pension, you can decide with your ex-partner what to do with that. You can decide to divide the retirement pension 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever you want. You have to pay to conclude those agreements in the Divorce Act, in the divorce set of agreements.
Arnoud, one remark.
Yeah.
By cohabitation, if you send us a contract, please send us to the pension fund, because if you just send it to HR, that will not be forwarded to the pension fund. So that's very important that you separately inform the pension fund and HR.
Yeah, Okay, well, many thanks, Patrick, for that addition. So send it to pensioenfonds@heineken.nl. We will come to that in a bit of time. I see a question. Maybe it's good to mention those right now. Partner pension is separate from the employee pension. Yes, it is. The employee pension, I assume you mean the retirement pension that I mentioned. Partner pension is separated, is separate from that. What happens if I retire in my home country and where the retirement age is earlier? Well, we'll come to that in a little bit later. It's part of the flexibilization possibilities of your retirement pension. You can decide to take early retirement, and then that means that you ask the pension fund to start the payments at an age earlier than your your Dutch state pension age, and that age can may be the retirement age of your home country. So we will start the payments upon your request, and we can pay that. We can transfer that to any well, almost any bank account in the world. So last but not least, there's an orphans pension insured. The orphans pension is amounts to 20% of the partner's pension, and it's paid until the child is 18 years or until the age of 27 when he or she is studying. And it's doubled for double orphans of whom both parents are deceased. It's important to remark that you need not to let us know if you get any children or if you have any children. When people decease in the pension funds, we will get the information. We will get the information at the basic administration. There it is again, and in the basic administration, we will be able to see if there are any children below 18 or below 27 years of age, and we will mention that in the correspondence that we will prepare for the survivors. Apart from the basic pension scheme, there's a voluntary pension scheme, the supplementary partners pension, and excuses for the typo that I see right now. The supplementary partners pension replaces the state pension under the Survivors Act, the so-called Algemene Nabestaande Wet. That's an act that arranges payments for state payments, state pension for survivors, but the group of those who are eligible for payments is very small. The payments only go for those who have children below the age of 18 or survivors who are partially disabled or fully disabled. So the chances that your survivor will be eligible for a payment from the state from the Survivors Act are relatively small. Therefore, the Heineken Pension Fund offers a voluntary supplementary partner pension with a payment and amount assured that is the same as in the General Survivors Act, Algemene Nabestaande Wet. And so if you decease in active service or if you are a pensioner, for pensioners it is also possible to continue this insurance. And the payments for the survivors will be given up to the state pension age of the survivor. Because it's a voluntary scheme, it's 100% employee contribution. For this year, it's 4.1% or €55 each month that you pay from your gross salary. Some changes are coming on this supplementary partners pension for next year. An age-dependent contribution scheme will be introduced, resulting in a lower contribution for younger people and a somewhat higher contribution for somewhat older people. And we will introduce an ending age of 70 years for those who decide to continue this insurance if they retire. And we have done this to lower the total risk in this scheme, so that we can keep the contribution percentages as low as possible. So let's take a quick look at the question that is asked. Can we switch from the RSP to the Heineken Pension Fund, or can we get the Zurich payment out? Well, I cannot inform you on the possibilities of getting payments out of the RSP, the Zurich pension. That is an arrangement that from the employer. We have sometimes employees who decide to switch to the Heineken Pension Fund and to start participating in the Heineken Pension Fund. That's always possible if you contact your business partner, but preferably after the first 5 years of participating in the RSP. You can contact your business partner, and we can look at the possibilities. It is not possible to take your amount out of the RSP and transfer it to the Heineken Pension Fund, because the background of both schemes is different. And a question that I cannot understand. Let's come to that at the end of this webinar. What happens if we leave Heineken before retirement? Well, if you leave Heineken, then the pension that you have accrued until the date that you end service at Heineken will stay in the pension fund. So and you can decide to take the pension or early pension, early retirement when you decide to do so. If you go and work for another Dutch company, it is possible to transfer the value. I will come to that later in this webinar as well. So far for the pension schemes information that I wanted to share with you today. Let's take a look at the choices you can make in the pension schemes, starting with a picture of on flexibilization of your pension. What is it exactly? And for this, I want to show this figure and represent your pension as a capital. Of course you have accrued pensions, but behind those pensions there's a capital, because it's a capitalized system in the Heineken Pension Fund, meaning that we for all those who have pensions in our pension fund, there's a capital that is connected to those pensions, and you can decide yourself that that capital will never become smaller nor bigger, but you can decide how to spend that capital, and like I have stated here, you are in service until a chosen year of early retirement. In this example, it's 62 years, and you still have to bridge 5 years before you are eligible for a state pension payment following the AOW. So you can decide to take that capital and spend it well and take some bridging pension for it in the first years of your retirement, apart from your lifelong retirement pension, resulting in a higher pension between the age of 62 and 67 years. That bridging pension that will end on the moment that you start getting the state pension payments, but the lifelong retirement pension will remain until you decease at a certain moment. That is for the retirement pension. Another part of the pension capital that you are entitled to is the partner's pension. If you are married or have a partner, then you can decide how to which part of the pension capital to reserve for the partner's pension. If you are not married or don't have a partner or don't want any partner pension because you have other possibilities to cover for that, you can decide to exchange your partner's pension in a higher retirement pension. Again, it's all about capital. You decide how to spend that capital, that pension capital that you are entitled to. So taking a look at the flexibility options in somewhat more detail. Then first of all, I want to mention the taking early retirement. This table is in our pension regulations, and it says what happens with your pension if you decide to take early retirement. We will have to pay your to pay the retirement pension for a longer period of time. So the pension that you have accrued, remember that is starting at 68 years. That will be taken earlier. So we have to pay longer. The pension will become somewhat lower at about 5 or 6% for each year that you take early retirement. In the example that we saw, the other slide, if you decide to take retirement on 62 years, you will have to deduct 30% of your pension in order to receive it 5 years or 6 years longer of time, between 62 and 68 years. And please be aware that the parameters, the percentages that you've shown on this page are determined each year. They can evolve over time and become more or less favorable, depending on amongst others, the interest rate that is applicable for these percentages. The example of the partner's pension, that you can decide yourself what partner's pension you want to have, or you want to arrange for your partner and for yourself, of course, is you can exchange partner's pension resulting in a higher retirement pension, or vice versa, exchange of retirement pension for a higher partner's pension. And not all percentages are possible. We have some options to choose for a partner's pension of 70% from your retirement pension, or 50% of your retirement pension, or 25% of your retirement pension. And by choosing so, you can exchange a partner's pension for retirement pension. For not married people, by the way, the partner's pension is automatically exchanged for retirement pension always. So those who are not married or don't have a partner registered, the they don't have to actively decide to exchange their partner's pension. That is done for them by the administration department in the pension letter that we draft that we draw for you at the moment of retirement. The third flexibilization option that I want to mention is the bridging pension and the high-low payments. A bridging pension, remember the picture that I showed earlier, that is meant for extra retirement pension during the period in which you are not receiving a state pension yet, but still want to retire. You can decide to choose. You can choose for a bridging pension in two ways: a partial. Should be with an A, I see, a partial bridging pension or a full bridging pension of 11,000 or 20,000 euros extra retirement pension approximately per year. And those amounts are based, by the way, on the state pension, on the Dutch state pension. And of course, the pension capital never becomes bigger nor smaller, so you will pay for that extra bridging pension yourself from the pension capital that you are entitled to. The high-low payments, that's another form of taking some higher retirement pension and exchange it for a lower lifelong pension. This is the option that you will get when you reach the state pension age. You can decide during the first 5 years of your retirement, starting from the state pension age, for a 10% higher retirement pension, and in the remaining years a somewhat lower retirement pension. So by this you can have some during 5 years a higher pension in the first years of your pension period, starting at the state pension age. Okay, so far for the information on the schemes. Let's take a look at the questions that are posed. If I am paying tax in the Netherlands, do I get an AOW automatically? Well, if you pay taxes if your income is taxed in the Netherlands, you are also paying contribution for the AOW, and that is because the contribution for the AOW is part of the tax percentage of the first part of your salary. If you I believe the first part of your salary is taxed by somewhat 20 or 30%. The other part, the next part, by 40%, and the resulting part, the last part, by 50%. In the tax percentage of the first part, there's also the contribution of the AOW, and that is, by the way, executed by the Sociale Verzekeringsbank. I will say a few words about that on the next slide, namely where to get any personal information on your pensions. First of all, you can go to our website and find there the pension planner. With the pension planner, it is possible to log in with using your digital ID, and you will find information on your current pensions, those pensions that you have accrued until now, and the pensions that you will be able to accrue when staying in service of Heineken until the retirement age. And you can perform calculations there on the flexibilization that I mentioned on the last slide. So you can go there for personal information. Very useful also is the mijnpensioenoverzicht.nl. I think they will have an English website as well. If you can also log in with your digital ID, and you will see all the pensions that you have accrued and that you are accruing in the Netherlands. And more. And you can also see the state pension that you are entitled to, resulting from the payments that you have made. So if you log in, you will see Heineken first of all, but you will also see the former employers where you have accrued pensions in the Netherlands, and you will see the state pension, and you will you get the total view of the pensions that you have accrued or may accrue up to now until the retirement age.
Arnoud, in addition to that, the IRSP, the International Retirement Savings Plan, is not visible on the mijnpensioenoverzicht.nl.
Exactly.
Because that's another savings plan, not from your gross salary, but from your net salary. So that's different, and it's not visible.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Peter, for that adding that information. And thirdly, you can always contact us if you have any questions or queries regarding your Heineken pensioen. The data contact details are available on our website.
There is a question about this disability pension, if that is available. What if I get injured or disabled before retirement age? What then? Can you give some information about that?
Yeah, I can go into that briefly. When you get disabled, the employer Heineken has an arrangement with. Excuse me. Has an arrangement with an external insurance company for your basic insurance when disabled, partially disabled. You will stay, as far as I know, in service of Heineken for your full. So you will continue to get paid to get the salary from Heineken. Different is it? It is different when you get fully disabled. When you are fully disabled, the pension payments, pension accrual will continue. That is included in the scheme of Heineken Pension Fund. And the Heineken Pension Fund will also give start payments if you have a salary more than 60,000 euros for the arrangements for salaries below 60,000 euros. The external insurance company that I mentioned earlier will cover for that. On our website, there's some information on the disability pension, so I can recommend to visit that. And if you have any more questions about that, please let us know so that we can go into that in detail. So far for the pension schemes, I want to mention some special topics at this point in the webinar. First of all, the value transfer, possibility of value transfer. You can perform a value transfer if you come in Heineken and start accruing your pensions at Heineken Pensioenfonds and have former employers in Holland, in the Netherlands. You can request for a value transfer and decide if you want to do that. What then happens is that the value of your pensions that you have accrued at the former employer go over to Heineken Pension Fund, and In exchange for that, you will get extra pension entitlements in the Heineken pension fund. The process is always started by Heineken Pensioenfonds. So if you want to know if it's if you want to do that, even if you are not sure yet, you can always send us a message by email, so we can start the process, and that will result in an offer, so-called offer, in which we present a calculation of the pension entitlements that you can get at Heineken Pensioenfonds, and at that moment, at that point in time, you can decide yourself if you want to execute the value transfer of or stop the process. That's both possible. And the other special topic is small advertisements for the pension fund. Like I said, the board consists of representatives for the employer, employees, and pensioners, retirees. It is, amongst others, controlled and supervised by an accountability council on some topics. And the Accountability Council is also consists of representatives from the employer and the employees. And we are always looking for new members. So if you think pensions is a nice and a good topic to do apart from your work, then let us know by email, and we can get into contact and give you some more information on the role of the Accountability Council in the governance of the pension fund. So finally, some words on the future of pensions. Like I said at the start of this webinar, a new pension system is emerging in a new pensions law. That is a topic of discussion in Parliament currently, as we speak, so to say. The basis of the new pension system will be more individually based pensions. So and you can imagine the pension capital that I've mentioned earlier in the webinar. In the future, pension funds are more to communicate with the pension capitals instead of the pensions that you have accrued or will accrue. In the end, it is the same, because the accrued pensions still represent a capital, but pension funds will have to communicate on pension capitals in the future. That is one big change that is part of the new law, and the new law will have some alternative choices apart from the choices that we have mentioned in this webinar. One of the choices that will be introduced is the possibility of taking a lump sum at the pension age of 10% of the retirement pension at the max. So you can always choose for a lower percentage, but never for a higher percentage than 10%. And the remaining 90% of the pension that will be paid to you lifelong, or that will pay to you lifelong. So this gives a glance on the new pension system. But on the other hand, much is still to be determined in detail. And currently, they started, I believe, last year, but employer, social partners, representatives of employees, and employer, combined with the representatives from the pension fund, are discussing, and the new pension system the new pension regulations that will come in Heineken, and well, we'll start the communication about that to you when it's time. I can imagine in the course of 2023 that we can give you some information, some more information about that. So that's for the future of pensions. Then the final words is to you. Are there any remaining questions, or maybe questions that we haven't answered yet? Let's take a little while to wait if there are any remarks in the Q&A section of the webinar. Well, I don't believe there are any left. No new questions, it says. So, so I really want to thank you for your time and for your attendance in this webinar. It was nice to give some information on the topic I love, the pensions. If you have any questions, any queries, please visit our website or contact us in the details that we have provided. This webinar is recorded, and we will place the link shortly on our website, and it will be mentioned in the newsletter that will come, well, I believe in a few weeks. So beware of your mailbox in Heineken. Thanks very much for your attention. And what is the app for Pension Planner? Final question: the app for Pension Planner. Unfortunately, we don't have an app yet. We are not that modern as a pension fund, but you can. It is possible to go to the website heinekenpensioenfonds.nl and start the pension planner there. But the Mijn Pensioenoverzicht, maybe that is an app. I'm not sure. Well, let's agree. The pension checker. There's an app called the pension checker. Yeah, that's right. So you might find the pension checker app, and well, it will give you similar information as the Mijn Pensioenoverzicht.nl. Okay. Well, thanks very much for your time. Have a nice day, and bye bye.
Thanks very much, and have a nice day. Bye bye.